my apprentice. You have grown strong in the Force. I can feel it within you, and I can feel the pulse of the dark side around you. Your training progresses well, and it is past time for you to be formally inducted into the ranks of the Sith. There is but one last trial for you to complete. You must construct your lightsaber. Yes, apprentice, the day has come. The Sith are more like the Jedi than they care to admit. Your weapon is a tool, an object to be used to further your power, but it also marks you apart. It is a symbol of your status as a follower of the dark side. You must know your weapon before you make it, and I have contained within my databanks all you need to know, both about the history of the saber and how to construct one. Know this, apprentice. After this, there is truly no turning back. You will be Sith, and forever will your destiny be dominated by the will of the Sith. You still wish to continue? Good. Accessing file. How to construct a lightsaber. Processing. Before I tell you how to build one, I must first give you a brief history of the weapon. You have learned of the Jedi, but the precursor to the lightsaber existed even before this long-vanished organization. We have touched briefly on the Rakatan Infinite Empire, and it is from this vanished civilization that the technology for lightsabers was born. The Rakatans had an unusual method of utilizing technology. Nearly everything they constructed was fueled by the Force, more specifically, the dark side. Even their method of traversing the stars was based on the Force. They were able to sense the pulse of life around the world, and they would use it to sling their vessels between them. As such, they were naturally drawn to worlds rich in the Force, and they would find and enslave Force sensitives of all species to help them hunt these worlds down. It was these Force hounds that specialized in the use of a weapon known as a Force saber. These weapons were constructed around a crystal which the wielder could focus the dark side through, creating a beam of pure Force energy. Force sabers were incredibly powerful, and a few of them would find their way into the hands of the Jedi. Even before the Force Wars, the Order would begin trying to reverse engineer the technology. They would not be successful for many years. It was not until well after the newly minted Jedi had settled Ossus that they would finally manage to reverse engineer the technology. But the amount of power required limited the first true frozen blasters to siege use. Indeed, the secret of the technology would leak into the galaxy, and the Tianese warlord Zim would use these mighty siege weapons in his conquests, literally carving his way through the walls of his enemies. As technology advanced, power generation capabilities grew smaller and smaller. This would eventually lead to the first true lightsabers. These weapons still required an external power pack clipped to the belt, but even with such a limitation, it proved a powerful tool in combat. The amount of skill required to use it kept the weapon limited to almost only Jedi use, and it would quickly become a symbol of the Order. When Ajunta Paul and his Dark Jedi were banished at the end of the 100-Year Darkness, they would take the designs with them to Korriban, where lightsabers would become the symbol of the new Sith ruling class that he would establish. These are all lessons you have learned, my apprentice. Once the technology was spread, and as power technology was further improved, lightsabers would become nearly ubiquitous across both Force orders, Jedi and Sith. The widespread use of the lightsaber would inevitably lead to variations on it. Today, there are light foils, light spears, light tonfas, light shotos, double-bladed lightsabers, lightsaber gauntlets, any kind of variation you can think of. What kind you construct is up to you. But how to build one, apprentice? It may surprise you to learn that almost all of the parts needed are commonplace. You will need something to house the internals. This should be the first thing you seek. Let the Force guide you. Lightsabers have been constructed from anything you can imagine, from a Rancor's tooth and swoop-like handle to more artistic, elegant weapons tailor-made by their wielders. It is up to you, apprentice, to find a casing which fits you. Once you have your hilt casing, you simply need at least one high-power diatom power cell. Many users will install more than one to increase the strength of their blade. But it is up to you how many you choose to use. You will also need focusing lenses to channel the high-energy plasma, and a power insulator for the handle to protect you from any electrical discharges. You'll need an emitter for the beam at the top, and a button or knob of some kind for activation. All parts that you can find easily at most markets. The most important piece, however, is also the most rare and difficult to acquire. This would be the focusing crystal. The Jedi Order at the end of the Old Republic would mainly use Aegean crystals from the lost world of Ilum for their sabers, but many different things may be used. Even Krayt Dragon Pearls have been used successfully as a lightsaber crystal. There are some things to keep in mind. The variations on the saber are truly infinite, and the things you can do to customize it cannot truly be quantified. There are options, like a dual-phase switch, which can extend the length of your blade. Some wielders like to build a crossguard into their sabers, and others still use special components to enhance their saber's capabilities. There are crystals, which can add effects to your blade, such as a strong electrical discharge, or the ability to shut off another's lightsaber. There are even some materials, such as cortosis, which are lightsaber resistant. You must let the Force guide you. You know what you need, but no one can tell you how to acquire it, or what to do once you have the pieces. The truth is that each saber is unique. The alignment needed to successfully produce a blade is so precise that it requires the Force to achieve properly. You must reach out with your feelings. You have learned how to bend the Force to your will. Now learn to follow its currents. Let it guide your path to the parts you need, including your crystals. And when you have these parts, let the Force guide your hand when assembling your weapon. You must meditate. You must be fully immersed in the Force to be successful, and it will be the ultimate test of whether you are truly worthy of my knowledge and have listened to my teachings. Only a Sith can truly construct a lightsaber, and you will only be successful if you have fully absorbed the lessons I have given thus far. Failure will cost you your limb, if not your life. Have faith in yourself, apprentice. You have all the skills needed in order to build your saber. I understand that these instructions are necessarily vague, but I believe you will find your way. Return when you have completed this task, and we shall begin your true explorations of the Force. Do not fail me now, my apprentice. I look forward to learning which weapon you chose to create. Go, and may the Force break your chains